Well, good morning, good morning. We are gathering for coffee with Casper. And there we are, live. We are making it. Casper, come on over here. Casper, come on. Come say hi. Come on up. There you are, there you are, there you are. There's a Casper boy. There's a Casper boy. There's your fans. There's a paw right there. Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Let me know you are there, where you are. Good morning from Hollywood. Beautiful, glamorous Hollywood. Okay, everybody down. Okay. Good morning. Let me know where you are, that you're with us. Good morning from Albuquerque. All right. Good to see you this morning. We're gathering about a minute away. We will gong ourselves in. There we go. Remember where the camera is. Greetings from Boise. Greetings from North Carolina. All right. Also from coastal North Carolina on an SWA flight back to North Carolina. SWA. All right, cool. Good morning. What is SWA? You'll have to inform me. Is that an airline? Or is that a something? Oh, cool. Good morning from Windsor Hills in Los Angeles. Good morning, Daryl. Good to see you this morning. All right. About 30 seconds to go. We will gong ourselves in and we'll spend 20 minutes together. We are glad you are here this morning. Okay. Casper, stop it. Don't eat the fence. No. That a boy. Okay. Good morning from Central Oregon, Robin. Good to see you this morning. Good to be seen. Okay, Casper's right here. There's a Casper boy. There's a boy. Okay, there's a boy. Okay, here we go. It's 8:30. Let's gong ourselves in and see what we might do to find inspiration to make this day and this week and this year spectacular. Happy February. Here we go. I better take a deep breath in. Let that sound ah. Okay, one more time. Deep breath in. Let the breath rise into your heart center, relaxing your shoulders. And just giving yourself this 20 minutes to be present to right here, right now, to see what we might do as light workers in the world, to bring forth more light, more love, more joy, more wisdom, more freedom, more peace, more poise, more power, more balance, more harmony, and a greater health in all that is our lives. Wholeness is my name in nature. Well, good to see you this morning. I had the good pleasure to speak to a group of souls run is the wrong way, chaired by, headed up by David and Lynn Serlin in the UK, United Kingdom, and wonderful group. And one of the things they asked me to talk about is what's new about New Thought. And of course, as our friend Michael Beckwith, the wonderful spiritual teacher, has said for a long time out of the Agape Center here in Los Angeles, International Center actually, Michael says it's really more New Thought, ancient wisdom, because the idea of New Thought is to take, and let me quote the philosopher Ernest Holmes, when he was asked at some point to define in simple terms or in short terms what is the teaching, what is the idea behind the transcendent ideas of the science of mind and New Thought, and how would we describe it? And he says, well, it really is a correlation of the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, and the revelations of religion as applied to human need and the aspirations of humankind. So we're talking about science, philosophy, and religion, and what has been revealed in all of those things, and what if we put all of those things together and look to see what is it that humanity is not seeing in the midst of the forest, the trees that they can't see in the midst of the forest. And when we really start to look at it as all one thing, good morning from Arizona, good morning from South Carolina. All right, we've got North and South there. Wonderful. If you really put the whole thing together, we're talking about transcendence. We mentioned last week here on Coffee with Casper that Transcendence is really something beyond, the definition is beyond normal, and of course we're not really normal. Gene Houston, the great cultural anthropologist, he says, you know what the definition of normal people? People you don't know very well. So we're really not interested in normal or the law of averages, but we are interested in this other definition of transcendence, which means beyond the physical. So really what we have learned, what you and I have learned, and what we're now applying in our human experience is, what if we treated ourselves rather than a body that has a soul that might have a spirit? What if we actually reverse the order? And that wonderful symbol, that V-looking symbol that works through the spirit, mind, and body and points down to the bottom of body. It's the name of that symbol is called the descent of spirit into form. And what if we started to run our lives, instead of believing that we're humans that may have a spirit, what if we go the other way around and start with what we hear on Coffee with Casper? No, I'm Harry Morgan Moses. You're watching Coffee with Casper. We're here every week at 8:30 in the morning and broadcasting 24/7 all around the world. So we love to hear where you're from, who's checking in, what countries, what places, who's getting inspiration, what's valuable. And all we ask you to do, if you're finding something valuable in Coffee with Casper, all we ask you to do is share it. Take the video, push that little button that says share. If you're on YouTube, like it, follow me, do the work to connect us light workers together, because the more light, more single candles that we have, the more light we have in the room. In fact, the way they used to measure lighthouses was to talk about the amount of candle power the light would have. Imagine if each one of us is a singular candle and we all begin to put our light toward the awakening of humanity to its spiritual magnificence. So again, what we're talking about is, what if I begin to live my life, instead of as a body that might have a soul, that might have a spirit, what if I go the other way around and use my capacity as a mental and spiritual being? What if I use my capacity as that to begin with, I am first a spiritual being, as it says in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and you've heard me say many, many times before, I came from the light, I put on a coat of skins, and I will return to the light. And you and I are light workers, consciously using the light to bring forth more awareness in the world, to steer the light of my own existence. And now we know we're talking about light because when we go right down to it, what's happening in the brain is firing. Little neurons are firing, electrical charges are firing. So the essence of your being is energetic, and the essence of all energy is light. So, wow. We are first a spiritual being, and if I begin to live my life from that place, that I am first a spiritual being, meaning I'm born in the image and likeness of the One, that I'm whole, complete, and perfect, right? And what if I begin to use that mentality to operate all that I am in my life? As I often say, don't get out of bed until you can greet the day. Remembering who you are, remembering there is an I am presence within you. I am that I am, and that I am presence is the same I am that's in every incarnate being on earth. Every human being is born in the image of that One. What has not happened up until now, and what's new about New Thought, is we are changing the order. We are running from the perspective of being 100% a spiritual being, and everything else follows that. I have a mind, I have a body, I have a spirit, but what I am is greater than my mind, my body, and my spirit. The sum total is greater than the parts, right? So I am this essence, and if I begin to dwell on that essence, and that's why we say daily we meditate, daily we allow ourselves to be still. We move into my mantra is I am. Mantra meditation isn't the only kind of meditation, but it's what I practice, so it's what I speak of. Daily we quiet ourselves, as Deepak Chopra says, at least 15 minutes a day. Sometimes people like to do 2 sessions a day of being still, quieting the mind, so that the whole being can go beyond linear thinking and absorb the spiritual essence of our nature. That's why Henry David Thoreau said the language of God is silence. So if we can quiet the mind and fall into that silence, we become more able to be receptive to the voice of the I have you are good boy. Yes, you are. Okay, down. Right? We become more able to be receptive to that instinct, to that intuition, to what used to be called the still small voice, which is now getting louder because we've had the great reset, because of the pandemic, because we had to stop and we had the forced time out. We are now beginning to emerge, and we can see that we're going to be worldwide. We're going to be victorious over this virus. It's not going to wipe out humanity. It's not going to wipe out you and me, because we are using the light of divine protection to move with our common sense. The most uncommon thing, right? Listening to that intuition, following that intuition, therefore being guided, guarded, protected, and directed, and led into the paths that reveal health, wealth, and happiness. And you deserve to have all of that. You're born in the image of the One. You were given the law of creation. Here again is where we are transcendent. We are transcending the physical and moving into the spiritual nature, and then discovering we have these two capacities. Meditation is for the purpose of in-breathing spirit, and our affirmative prayers or our spiritual mind treatments are for the purpose of directing that spirit toward particular good. Good and more good is mine. There's no limit to the good that is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this good. I feel it. It crowds itself against me. It flows through me. It multiplies itself around me. And we want to begin to not only use those words, but to feel it, to sense it, to be looking for the qualities of the divine that we would like to have more of in our lives. More love, more joy, more happiness, more laughter, more freedom, more abundance, therefore more freedom to make choices about how I want to live and where I want to go and how I want to be and how I want to share my light in the world. You have a unique gift, the contribution that you can make as one of the candles burning the light of an awakening humanity. The contribution you can make is huge. Good morning, Daryl, from wherever you are. Daryl's from somewhere. Nice to have you with us. Good to see you, and thank you for the lovely comment. So we are, all of us, working together to bring a greater good into our own life, but move beyond my personal life to all that touch my experience. You know, I learned a long time ago that when people have an affection for you, which is a form of love, any kind of affection, and something happens to you, it affects them, right? So we discover that we definitely do not live just for ourselves. We live for ourselves and for those who are touching the arena of our experience. And those who touch the arena of our experience in love, those who get an inspiration because they have known you. Because of you, I have been changed for the better, and because of you, I have been changed for good, right? I am changing all of me to recognize that I move and live and touch and have my being, and it touches everyone. Everyone who touches the arena of my experience. That's vibration, right? So we have to begin to slow down, breathe in, determine what it is that we really mean. And of course, this is now coming out of the pandemic. How have you been doing in these waves, right? The waves of fear rise up. The media joins into the waves of fear and say, oh my God, there's a new variant. Oh my God, there's troops on the border. Oh my God, there's dictators rising up in this country and that. The news of the world is designed and is still, whether we like it or not, and I'm not attacking it, we need the news in the world, but you don't need it 24 hours a day, and you don't need to think that what they're reporting in their myopic view, their singular view through that lens, is the sum total of the human reality. The sum total of the human reality is that the great masses of humanity is seeking love. The great mass of humanity is seeking peace. The great mass of humanity is awakening to their spiritual magnificence. And slowly, when I say that the critical mass is not there yet, But light workers, how many light workers do you know? How many of your friends are conscious light workers that are knowing that they have a source that is in spirit, that they are an avenue through which the hands and the body and the feet of spirit and the eyes and the face of spirit is moving into the world? You are that. You are the eyes and face of the spirit itself moving into the world. And what do you want the world to be? There's Gandhi's great line, right? Be the change you would like to see in the world. Mahatma Gandhi led a whole nation, freed a whole nation, right? By simply determining he was going to be the change that he wanted to see in the world. And so this is what, if our prayer, if our inner desire is that peace on earth and goodwill to all humankind shall be born in me, that's how we get it into humanity. You let it be born in you, and then you let that light shine you and leak all over the place, and that light begins to find the dark places and bring light, and we begin to bring healing into the lives of our friends, into our families. We begin to bring the possibility of hope, a greater optimism, a change of attitude. William James, the great American psychologist, the greatest line, we talked about this again and again. The greatest discovery of this or any generation is that human beings can change their experience by changing their attitude of mind. Now imagine if we then start working on our attitude of mind. What if we start believing in the glory of who and what we really are? What if we start carrying that into the world, and we start being a place where, as the Dalai Lama said, my religion is kindness. Now, isn't that interesting? The most famous Tibetan Buddhist of all time, the Dalai Lama, is the leader of a particular tradition, yet he says his religion is kindness. And kindness doesn't belong to the Buddhists or the Christians or the Jews or the Muslims or the atheist or anybody else. Kindness belongs to each and to all. And if we begin to know that kindness is the spark of divine love, and this is where it does matter what your attitude is and what you think and where your inner being is living. Do you believe that you come from a source that is eternal, a source that brings forth all life, that animates all creation at every level and in every dimension, and that you are the beloved of that source? Well, that's why it's been, the Transcendentalists said way back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, if you but knew who you were, right? Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, they all said, if you but knew who you were. And these were souls who 120 and 50 years ago were, including Ernest Holmes and all of the great New Thought writers and teachers, and there were so many of them, the Fillmores, the Holmeses, the Dressers, the list goes on. And we can educate ourselves about all the history of it, but the bottom line is that we are now moving into the reality that we are the transcendent place, and we begin to live our lives from a place of transcendence, beyond the physical, and calling in that which is the superseding law of all creation, which is the law of the circle. Energy in, energy out. The way I put energy into life with my thoughts, words, actions, feelings, and deeds, that energy is returning to me as my experience. That's the law of the circle. That is the transcendent law of all laws, for human beings are born in the image of the One, and the closer they ascend, the higher they ascend into their own spiritual nature, the more of that is coming descending in mind, in body, and in experience. This is the great new shift. This is February. Here and in many countries around the world, we honor Valentine. We honor this idea of love. We honor this idea of romantic love. And of course, there are all kinds of love. Love has so many levels and textures. And we can begin to use love as an actual cosmic force in our lives. Using love as a cosmic force in our lives. You are a light worker. We, those who watch Coffee with Casper and other inspirational and sources that are coming from the authentic place of the I am that I am, we are bringing forth a great change in the human condition, not only for ourselves, but for our friends, for our family, for our children and grandchildren, and the generations that follow. You are something special. You're watching Coffee with Casper. I'm Harry Morgan Moses. Do me a favor, share the video. Hopefully something marvelous happens in the awareness of each and all who hear and see and participate with us. Thank you for sharing your time and energy with me in this fine morning, in this fine day, and in this fine week, and in this fine month. We'll be back next week with Coffee with Casper, and we will see you then. Until we meet again, we invite you to go in the light, as the light, and with the light. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way. Bye for now. Come on up, Casper. Atta boy. We'll see you next week on Coffee with Casper. Bye.